Good performance, a small scale and even smaller budget. It's Ace Magician's fresh 2023 mini-PC based on Intel's older Lake architecture, and we have the usual doubts whether it is any good. In order to say the key phrase, let's inspect. Hey, guys and girls, really good to meet you. I want you to hear something. That's a very retro-sounding beep for such a brand new mini PC of 2023 coming from the company Ace Magician, and it's based on the older Lake N95, something that Intel have announced in early 2023. So in this episode, we're going to find out everything interesting about this body, which is running Windows 11 Pro. We're going to unbox, set it up, we're going to explore the strengths and the weaknesses of the hardware, perform a lot of tests in order to find out whether it's good for a gaming PC or an office PC or a multimedia station. I think there's plenty to explore, so let's dive into it. At a price of just above $200, Ace Magician gives us the opportunity to get a glimpse of the latest Intel's processor technologies. Still a bit more expensive than last year's Jasper Lake-based setups, but I'm sure that over time it's gonna get there, and let's not forget that Intel has finally brought some significant improvements in terms of performance for their latest technologies. The only other vendors that can come close to such tempting deals are the Chinese brand like Beelink, Morfine and similar. Good unboxing experience. Ace Magician makes sure that you're going to feel safe about using this budget-friendly mini-PC. I underline that I never got to test the support staff responsiveness or the quality on my own, yet. We take the unit out, and here's a stamp advising us how to create Windows 11 Pro local PC account, as opposed to falling into Microsoft's trap and get forced to use the dedicated online-based account. The latter one has certain advantages, of course, and there always is a way back. Although taking this mini computer out, you're going to immediately sense the cheap plastics for the chassis, there continue to be some signs about someone caring about supporting this. Check the QR code as an evidence. The connectivity ports look interesting. I haven't seen such a dedicated microphone jack on a PC for a while, let alone a 2023 development. A bunch of USB connections and 2 monitor ports on the rear. From the accessories, there's a power adapter, a VESA mount, and HDMI cable for connecting to a monitor. Pretty standard setup, and although not premium feeling, it's not much different to mini PCs that costs twice or 3 times more than this AD03 model. From the multiple stickers on the housing, we know that there's an Intel CPU inside, but let me share with you the full picture. The quad-core older Lake N95 with up to 3.4 GHz maximum frequency, there is 8 GB RAM, graphics is integrated in the CPU, there's 256 GB M2 drive for storage, 4K 60p dual screen mode, a dual LAN port setup, a bunch of USB connectivity ports, dual band Wi-Fi, and all that comes equipped with a licensed Windows 11 Pro edition. The specs are entry-level, so is the price point. You have a few different variations with 8 or 16 GB of RAM, 256 or 512 GB of storage. All the modifications are running the older Lake N95. Actually, this CPU, although being entry-level now in 2023, is comparable to the performance of some really old i5 or i7 CPUs from 6-7 years ago. I would say the E-cores, which are present with N95, are somewhat comparable to what we have with the Core i7 6700. In terms of equipment on the inside, you're going to find out a lot of components which are intended to be used mostly by laptops, entry-level laptops. Therefore, the power efficiency is really great, the scale is also great, and the good news is that it doesn't produce that much heat and the fan is really quiet. Now, we are about to perform a lot of tests and we're going to figure out whether it's suitable for gaming, but first I want us to pick a screwdriver and see about the repairability and upgradability. We begin by removing the 2 screws on the back side, then we slide the top cover until it pops out and gives you access to the internals. The top area hosts a 2.5-inch drive slot, so you could put here an HDD or SSD of your choice and significantly increase the amount of available storage. To remove the plate, there are 3 more screws, and this is how we get access to the components to be repaired or upgraded. In my case, there's an 8GB DDR4 Lexer memory module. There's only one slot which presumably would accept DIMMs of up to 32GB capacity. On the other side of the board, there's the M2 storage drive made by the Chinese company NetAC. You can upgrade to anything faster or bigger than that. Underneath, the Wi-Fi module, which is also M2 based, meaning that you can replace or upgrade it. Actually, all of this is much better than expected for such a basic mini computer, so I'm quite happy with the internal layout so far. There don't seem to be any issues or design flows. So straight to the use cases. If you run mostly office tasks like editing presentations or text files, or sending emails or browsing, that's gonna feel alright. Exception would be browsing over really intensive websites with a lot of heavy graphics. Then you're gonna for sure sense that the PC lacks some power. I hope to be able to play some fun games, but titles like Beach Buggy Racing are the closest that you're going to get in terms of good gaming performance. If we launch CSGO, traditionally not an issue for most integrated mid-range graphic adapters from the past 2 to 3 years, it really struggles to deliver more than 9 frames per second in 4K at the lowest possible graphics settings. If you choose Full HD resolution on the monitor, however, it is playable with FPS ranging between 20 and 50 on average, and that's quite good. You shouldn't forget that this is not meant to be a gaming PC after all, but with some corners cut, you can do that as well. The fan is really quiet, some tuning is available from the BIOS settings too. This model uses the AMI BIOS interface. Multimedia playback is smooth, might struggle a bit in 4K, but that only in case the video footage has a too high bitrate. Excellent YouTube playback, not too many skipped frames, and of course, excellent playback of video and audio files. AD03 is also great as a Plex media server in case you want to set up a low-power streaming box at home. Speaking of power consumption, you're about to like what you see here. In peak moments, this mini PC consumes just a fraction of what a big computer would. Oh, and network connectivity is also solid, especially the LAN setup where you potentially can count on up to 2 gigabits per second bandwidth in total. Wi-Fi is on the weaker side, though. Storage performance is also lower than what I hoped for. The M2 drive inside seems to have entry-level performance. If you don't plan to copy huge amounts of files, and reading is what mostly is expected to happen, completely ignore what I'm about to say. If you write substantial amount of data, however, the performance in the first 1 or 2 minutes is going to be around 250 megabytes per second reading and writing, but sustained load is going to result into inability to maintain these speeds or going even above 80 megabytes per second on average, often dropping down to 5 or just 6 megabytes per second. Most likely, this is a QLC-based flash and is quite cheap. Upgrading is of course possible, and you can also add a 2.5-inch HDD or SSD. Note that there is no dedicated cooler for the extra drive, so make sure to pick a device which can tolerate higher temperatures in case you plan to do so. As for software, you can't go wrong with Windows 11. It's licensed and, unlike what I initially expected, works buttery smooth on the hardware present. There are a lot of reasons to like it: colorful, capable, with beautiful animations and so many features. Do not ignore the Microsoft Store, which has grown a lot in the past few years, and it's a great point to start your journey about exploring Windows-compatible software. As usual, I have a list with some improvement suggestions: the lack of a second memory slot, the 2 entry-level choice for NVMe, and the rather basic wireless module. The rest, I guess, well matches the price tag or somewhat exceeds the expectations. Final verdict, and what I'm going to say next is based on the current price of the product, which is around $240 at the time I record this episode, and for that amount of money, not bad. It would be a good choice, but definitely not the best value product of 2023. My expectation, though, is that the price is gonna go down, because at the moment when I'm recording this, last year's Jasper Lake-based mini PCs with twice more RAM and twice more storage cost less than $200. But it's also correct that when I was working on preparing this episode, I actually stumbled across a lightning deal on Amazon selling this for $164. And if you can buy the lighting deal, that's gonna be a steal. If you find this mini PC for less than $200, I would strongly recommend get one. Probably an upgrade of RAM and the storage would be a good idea because it's definitely going to guarantee better longevity and better performance in the long run. So that's everything about the AD03 by Ace Magician. In case you have some questions or you want to share your opinion about the state of mini PCs in 2023, please, comments are down below the video. As usual, more information about the product, link to order, hopefully a discount you're going to find in the description area. Thanks a lot for watching. My name is Michael, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye!